Definitely, for me important 4 belts. For me important undisputed, but more important for me it's give emotion my Ukrainian.
Put boxing first and go out there. They're a very good team. You want to win, they're winners. If you want to win, surround yourself with winners. Spoke to Eddie, spoke to family, everyone said it's a good idea.
2024-25, Anthony with Usyk training together. 2026-27, Anthony undisputed champion. Good idea. Usyk help, signed. AJ, G, you undisputed champion. 2027, it's possible.
How is Anthony doing mentally and physically at the moment?
I think be better because physically good, mentality I think good because we speak every day. We training 2 times. I know, Anthony this is champion. Yes, Anthony now don't have belts, but for me it doesn't matter. AJ, it's possible. You undisputed champion in 2027. I know mistake Anthony, but we work about this and we delete mistake in Anthony, delete mistake in my. It's my partner, it's my brother, AJ, G.
This is the moment the entire boxing world has been waiting for. Oleksandr Usyk himself confirming what nobody thought possible, walking away from every single belt to hand Anthony Joshua the undisputed crown. This isn't weakness. This is a champion thinking about legacy on his own terms.
When I go back home, I think maybe finish. Maybe I go to professional boxing. My old friend told me, listen, your dream is gold medal, yeah? I say yes, but you don't have gold medal now. I don't have, but you wanna stop amateur boxing. I say yes, no.
Few words, but the weight behind them is massive. Every belt, every camp, every sacrifice flashing through his mind in this single moment. This is what separates Usyk from most fighters. He doesn't just win with his fists, he fights with his heart on full display.
This memory.
Special.
Yeah.
Very.
For me, it's special. Every day.
Spencer Oliver puts it perfectly. This is a man protecting a legacy that's already untouchable. Oleksandr Usyk doesn't need to prove anything else in that ring. He's financially set, historically immortal, and smart enough to know when to step back rather than risk what he's already built. That's a true great thinking beyond the belts.
Whatever it was, he didn't look Usyk of old, and he probably recognises this is maybe the time to check out. You're talking about legacy, you're talking about now he's financially secure, he'll go down in the history books as one of the greatest to ever do it. And who can argue with him? He's vacated the belts, he's had that time to think, he wants one and done, one and he's checking out. That may be a rematch with Rico Verhoeven. Who knows? But I don't think I see him boxing any of the contenders coming up. He doesn't want to damage that legacy, and you know, I think it's a good move for him at this stage.
Okay.
Anthony Joshua's reaction says it all. Pure respect and gratitude toward the man who gave him this opportunity. Even Joshua himself understands what kind of gesture this is. Not every era gets a champion generous and confident enough to hand over the throne like Oleksandr Usyk just did.
Oh, come on.
Got it.
Let's say Usyk was in that position, he would want to carry on. There's no question that any fighter in that position would want to carry on. But it's unfortunate refs have such a big deal in the making or breaking of one's career. We've seen it.
This raw, almost broken English carries more honesty than any polished speech ever could. Usyk baring his soul, talking about love and feeling in a sport that often forgets fighters are human too. This is why fans across the world adore Oleksandr Usyk, inside and outside the ring.
Why? You know, people like iron, like don't have чувства, feeling, yeah, don't have feeling. It's great. Say, I say my life every time too. I love you.
Yeah.
You best. You very beautiful. you special. I not.
Eddie Hearn sees the bigger picture here. Oleksandr Usyk's decision doesn't just close a chapter, it blows the entire division wide open. New champions, fresh matchups, and chaos that only benefits boxing fans. This is Usyk shaping the sport's future even while stepping back from it himself.
Great news for the contenders, and actually, to be honest with you, great news for the division, because I think we're going to see some interesting things throw up. I mean, if you look at the WBA, it's Gassiev against Jarrell Miller for the world title. If you look at the IBF, it's Frank Sanchez, who actually called us today about Joshua because he's in the line. And I said, unfortunately, we got a contract to fight Prenger and Fury, so we're out. So I think it's Sanchez against Yalalov for the world title, which is a bit crazy. But that, I mean, yeah, but that's okay. Like, right. Then you've got Wardley and Dubois, obviously fighting for the IBF. And then you've got Itauma. Maybe they make the Hrgovic fight for the vacant title. So you're going to be in a situation where you could have, 4 world champions, which I don't mind. As long as they fight each other. But they're not massive names either. So you could see some unifications and some great matchups. Then you've got the Fury Joshua winners going to be looking to fight for the belt. So I actually think it's really exciting.
Anthony Joshua, openly admitting Usyk is one of his favorite fighters, says everything about the mutual respect between these two. Usyk wanting to see Joshua improve rather than simply beat him shows real character. That's the mark of a champion who cares about the sport itself.
I think Usyk's the best, one of my favourite fighters. I rate him highly. But he just said that he wanted to see me get better. And it was my mate. I was training down Finchley. And my mate was like, why are you training down here on your own? I was like...
Even critics like Wade Plamines have nothing but praise here, calling Usyk's move fair and honest. Dropping the belts instead of blocking contenders is exactly the integrity fans expect from a legend. Cruiserweight and heavyweight, undisputed in both, Oleksandr Usyk's career speaks louder than any belt ever could.
He deserves his shot. I understand it. But if this is, this is it for Usyk, one more fight, and we'll talk about retirement after that fight, but what a career. I applaud him for stepping aside if he wasn't going to defend the belts. I was one of those guys that was a little bit frustrated that he was fighting Rico for the belt, and that Cabial wasn't getting to get shot, right? And that Daniel Dubois, he had to vacate one of the belts so Daniel Dubois and Fabio Wardley could fight for it. And then you had Joshua coming back, and Moses Itauma was there, and just these younger guys that were going to come up, and Usyk was clearly not going to fight. I was sitting here going, if you're not going to fight him, then drop the belts. And he's dropped the belts, so I have nothing bad to say. Congrats to Oleksandr Usyk on a legendary career at both cruiser and heavyweight, one of the best of all time. But now it's time to move.
Classic Tyson Fury theatrics, loud, brash, and clearly rattled by the man he can't seem to get past mentally. This kind of noise only exists because Oleksandr Usyk lives rent-free in Fury's head. Champions don't need to shout insults to prove their standing, and Usyk has never needed to. Fury's frustration here says far more about his own insecurity than anything about Usyk's character or skill inside that ring.
Usyk, you little shithouse. You proper little shitbag, bog-eyed, gappy-teethed, ugly little rat bastard. You little slimy fucker. Tried all with...
Simon Jordan doesn't hold back, calling Oleksandr Usyk the elite of the entire heavyweight triumvirate, even ahead of Tyson Fury himself. That's not a small statement from someone as blunt as Jordan. This vacating of belts marks the closing of an era, and Usyk leaves it as the clear standout among Fury, Joshua, and himself. The next generation now has massive shoes to fill.
So I think it's the right move for Oleksandr Usyk. I think it's the next generation of boxing. I don't think heavyweight boxing needs Oleksandr Usyk. He's got another generation of fighters coming through. But we are about to see the last swan songs of this triumvirate of Fury, Joshua, and Usyk being, with all due respect to Tyson Fury, the elite of the lot. And I think it's the right time to go, I think, from holding the world title.
Liam Goff drops a bombshell here. Dana White possibly entering Usyk's story could change everything about how boxing gets packaged and sold to the world. If that door really opens, we might see Oleksandr Usyk involved in something bigger than a normal fight night. A potential Deontay Wilder clash under a completely new kind of spotlight would be massive for the entire sport.
It is therefore a logical move for the unified World Heavyweight Champion as he enters the twilight of his career. There is a contract there, and interest exists from Dana White and Zuffa Boxing, Lappin told TalkSport. Details aren't for the public right now. Let's say a few doors are opened, and if the format, numbers and timing align, the market could see a move nobody expected. Absolutely true. I mean, really didn't see this. Everyone is seeing what Dana White did. He turned old MMA into the global UFC machine. He really truly did. His real power is packaging not just a fight, but an event. If he gets involved, the scale and attention immediately becomes different. The fight at the top of Oleksandr Usyk's hit list is a clash with Deontay.
Liam Goff believes the true final chapter for Oleksandr Usyk could simply be closing the loop with a Rico Hovhannissian rematch rather than chasing new contenders. Whatever people say about skipping Ajit Cabale, this take makes sense. Usyk tying up unfinished business feels far more fitting than risking his legacy against an unproven threat. Legends often want closure more than new conquests, and that seems exactly where Usyk's head is right now.
I suspect, and I still stand by this, that the last dance for Oleksandr Usyk is quite simply just going to be the Rico Verhoeven rematch. I think that's what he wants to do. I think he wants to tie that loose end up. I think given the fact that, yeah, look, Caballel was his mandatory, given the fact he's vacated through BBC along with the others, I suspect that won't hinder him in his legacy moving forward. You know, technically the WBC never officially ordered it. You know, he was mandatory, but it hadn't been ordered yet. They had till Tuesday, I think, and then, you know, they were going to step in and stuff like that. So when all's said and done with Usyk's career, the whole Caballel thing, that might be, and especially let's say Caballel doesn't have, really, if Ajit Caballel, say, loses his next fight or loses a couple of fights, then people, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, and I don't think it's a good thing, but people would be like, oh, well, he would have lost anyway, so there's no point. So he did the right thing not fighting him because he just would have beaten him anyway. And people are, we see it happens all the time, all right? So that might be the one little bit of thing that Usyk maybe has, that maybe some people will say after the fact, but who knows. But the Verhoeven fight, how competitive it was, and the ending of that fight, yeah. Look, watching it live, I didn't know because I didn't have the commentary on, so I didn't know the bell had already went. It did seem premature to me.
Ade Oladipo touches something deeper here. This was never really about money for Oleksandr Usyk. Every mention of his wife and kids reveals a man torn between glory and family. And that emotional pull is exactly why this decision means so much. Even with an estimated 200 million career earnings, Usyk still keeps that heavy heart when talking about home. That humanity is what makes fans respect him even more than his undefeated record ever could.
It's difficult to retire when, I guess, the numbers being chucked in front of you are big numbers. Like, you always make more money towards the end of your career than you do obviously in the middle and the beginning. And now Oleksandr Usyk, I'm guessing, has made more money than he ever dreamt of. And when the offers are still there and the numbers are still big, it must be difficult to say no when you genuinely believe that you can still beat those guys. But how much is enough? How much is enough? Like, Oleksandr Usyk must have, what number? 200 million? Would you have said that? Oleksandr Usyk has taken away 200 million in his career? That's it, right? Every time I've sat down with him and spoke with him, he always, every time he brings up his wife and kids, he always seems to kind of have a heavy heart talking about them, like he doesn't want to leave them. And obviously he leaves them to go into training camp. Well, make the decision, dude. Make the decision. I hope he retires. That being said, I still think he can kick the arse of all the heavyweights out there. Italma, Caballel, whoever, Wardley, Dubois, whoever, AJ, Fury, whatever. But I think he should call it quits, personally. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section.
Henry raises a fair point, but let's not forget who we're talking about here. Even in a supposedly tough night against Rico Hovhannissian, Oleksandr Usyk still walked away with the win, still walked away undefeated, still walked away undisputed. Critics can question the finish all they want, but the record books don't lie. Skipping the Usyk-Cabello fight might frustrate some fans wanting to see that matchup, but Usyk has already answered every question boxing could throw at him across 2 weight classes. At this point, he owes the sport nothing, and now the division has to figure itself out without him at the top.
Many people had been calling for him to retire for quite a while now, as his in-the-ring performances have started to decline. We saw that in his most recent outing against Rico Verhoeven. He got the win, yes, but it was a controversial finish, and Usyk, it was the most he'd struggled with a heavyweight in the ring, I think it's fair to say. He had already vacated his WBO world title, and in doing so avoided his mandatory against Fabio Wardley. He was permitted to take that Rico fight, but next up would have been the WBC and a fight against Agit Kabayel. It was one that I was really intrigued to see, but we're now not going to get that, and it would have been interesting to see it because Kabayel would have been a very, very genuine test, and I was also excited to see just how good Kabayel is. He really needed that really top test so we could know, is this guy actually a top 1, 2, maybe 3 heavyweight in the world? But regardless, Usyk has made his decision, and now we need to work out what this means for each of the belts, what this means for the potential matchup.
Oleksandr Usyk relinquishing all titles, including the Ring Magazine title. No more defenses. He's just chasing glory, whatever that means. What does that mean? When you first hear it, what's your reaction?
Well, my reaction is that when you're not going to face, when you're a unified champion and you're not going to face one mandatory, you know, it's a little bit easier to vacate all the belts than to answer the questions. And I think he's probably in a position where he's like, I've done so much in the sport, I don't want to be told who I've got to fight. Do you know what I mean? I want to do my own thing. I don't know when I'm going to fight. I want to fight when I want to fight. I don't want an order that says I have 30 days to negotiate and the fight must take place in 90 days. Do you know what I mean? And if he's going to rematch Rico, which I would, if I was looking after Usyk, I would be telling him to do, that's his last fight anyway. So...
would you?
Oh, without doubt. Without doubt. I mean, why would you fight Kabayel and defend your title? It's a very tough fight. Like, I think financially you can make more money to fight Rico. There's a bit of controversy there. There's a few unanswered questions. I think he wins very comfortably in the second fight. You can do something in Amsterdam, which would be, like, iconic. And I think he's done, isn't he? He's like, you know, this is him saying, one more and thank you, boxing.
Radio Raheem nails exactly why this story has taken over every boxing headline. An undefeated, lineal, undisputed heavyweight champion voluntarily walking away from every single belt, WBC, WBO, IBF, WBA, and the Ring Magazine title. This has genuinely never happened before in the history of the sport. That cryptic mention of still pursuing glory only adds more mystery to what Oleksandr Usyk's next move could actually be. Whatever he's chasing next, one thing is certain. Nobody hands him that lineal championship status because he's simply never lost it in the ring. This is uncharted territory for boxing, and Usyk is writing the rulebook himself.
Steals the show in the news cycle. He comes on to his social media. He has posted on Instagram in his story that he is right now prepared to vacate all of his world titles. That is right. Oleksandr Usyk is vacating all of his world titles in addition to the Ring Magazine title. However, he claims he has not finished boxing. He is still in pursuit of glory, leaving that cryptic message, not really sure what that means or how that glory will be pursued. But Oleksandr Usyk, as of this moment, is no longer the WBC, the WBO, the IBF, the WBA, the Ring Magazine. Of course, he is the lineal undisputed champion. Obviously, Daniel Dubois is also world champion, but Usyk has never been beaten in the ring for any of those world titles. I don't know that there's ever been a situation like this where an undefeated, active, heavyweight champion, lineal undisputed, unified champion, voluntarily gives up all of his world titles to pursue glory by whatever definition.
So there it is. Oleksandr Usyk, the undefeated, lineal, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, walking away from every single belt he ever earned, not because he was forced to, not because he lost, but because he chose to. And that choice tells you everything about the man. Anthony Joshua now stands as undisputed champion in 2027, and whatever anyone says about how it happened, Usyk handed him that crown with class, with respect, and with a legacy fully intact. Where does he go from here? A Rico Hovhannissian rematch feels likely. closing that loose and once and for all. A shock move involving Dana White cannot be ruled out either. And if that happens, boxing as we know it could change overnight. Whatever glory Usyk is chasing next, one thing is certain, he already proved everything there was to prove in that ring. Cruiserweight undisputed. Heavyweight undisputed. Never beaten. Ever. What do you think Usyk does next? Chasing Deontay Wilder, closing it out with Hovhannissian, or is this truly the beginning of the end? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe for more as this story keeps developing.